Well, howdy, friends. Welcome into another episode of Nash Trash with our good friend, Debbie Reynolds. Debbie, what's going on up there in Big D?
Well, we got over New Year's and I got over football and now I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, 2020 is over, thank goodness. And here we are in 2021. But like they said in church the other day, did y'all notice not much really changed?
Not much really changed. Nope. Cowboys still played bad and they still didn't make the playoffs, and that's okay. And the Houston did pretty okay yesterday.
Pretty okay. That's a good way to put it.
Pretty okay. But this was an interesting week in country music history.
Yep.
Back many years ago. For example, in 1953, today was the day. We had talked about Hank Williams last week. Today was the day he had his funeral in Montgomery Auditorium. Interesting, there was over 25,000 people at that passed by his silver coffin during the viewing, and the auditorium was filled with over 2,700 mourners, which was the biggest gathering of any funeral in the state of Alabama for any other citizen. He was so beloved.
He was huge. He was huge. I mean, like I said last week, it's anybody that we still listen to his music, and he's been dead since 1953. He made an impact. That's all there is to it.
He certainly did. On this day, in 1969, our friend Dolly Parton became a member of the Grand Ole Opry, where she's been for a long time, 51 years today, in fact. But another interesting thing that happened in 2006, the house where Johnny Cash lived for 35 years, they were going to do a lot of renovations on the house. And during the renovations, he wanted to kind of honor Johnny Cash's memory. Unfortunately, the house burned to the ground.
Yeah.
And so he had it restored, and he just recently in 2014 sold it. So he had the house for about 8 years before he sold it. But interesting that someone still in the music industry would buy that house and want to restore it to the greatness that Johnny Cash enjoyed for 35 years.
Yeah, it's you can drive right up the street, right up to the house, but you can't go in. But
can't go in. Nope, can't go in. On January 6th of 1958, Jerry Lee Lewis was #1 on the Billboard Country chart with Great Balls of Fire, which was featured in the 1957 movie Jamboree. It's also, there was a remake, or there was a movie on Jerry Lee Lewis's life, and it was really good too. That was featured in there as well. On January 6th of 1976, C.W. McCall was #1 on the U.S. country chart with Black Bear Road. Now, that's probably not very interesting to some people, and maybe not a lot of people know that song, but it really gave him boost because that movie was used in the movie. I mean, that song was used in the movie Convoy, and it was responsible for starting the nationwide citizen band radio craze back years ago. And it was popularized so much that there's a road sign that says you don't have to be crazy to drive this road, but it helps. So I have to ask, did you have a CB?
I still do.
What's your handle?
Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
Mine was shortstop because I was a baseball player and I played shortstop. So
I do remember that we had a blue car at the time, and my wife was expecting our first son, and her handle was Baby Blue and Baby Two.
Baby Two. I love that. Well, speaking of rolling on the road, on January 6th of 1984, Alabama released Roll On, 18-wheeler, as the first single and track to their album Roll On, and it went to #1 on the country charts. And it was also 12th in a string of 21 #1 singles that they would have over a period of about 7 years in the 1980s.
Wow. 21.
Still going strong too.
I mean, that's 3 a year. That's crazy money.
And interestingly enough, on January 6th of 1998, and I don't think this has been duplicated again, Trisha Yearwood and LeAnn Rimes were announced as nominees for Country Vocal Performance by a Female for their versions of How Do I Live? Now, this was the first time in Grammy history. I don't think it's been done again. The song was so famous. I suspect the Grammy people thought LeAnn Rimes might win because they let her perform it during the award ceremony,
Okay.
but Trisha Yearwood went home with the prize.
Well, I gave LeAnn Rimes a little boost on her career to have it on the Grammy show, but Trisha Yearwood to take it home. That's. I wonder how LeAnn Rimes felt about that when the show was over.
I'm not sure, but both of them did a great job on the song. It's one of my favorite, and interesting that it was written for actually for the movie Con Air. It's on the soundtrack. You ever watch that movie?
Oh yeah.
Nothing to do with anything. Hey, let's say happy birthday to a few people.
Sure.
January 6, 1924, Earl Scruggs was born in Shelby, North Carolina. He was famous for perfecting the three-finger banjo picking style, now called the Scruggs style. And I tell you what, he had a big hit with his friend. It was Earl Scruggs and Flat and Scruggs that did the Ballad of Jed Clampett for the TV show Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, the theme song to the Beverly Hillbillies. That's right.
He died in March of 2012, but he would have been birthday today. We also want to celebrate John Rich of Big and Rich. He was born on January 7th, 1974, here in Amarillo, Texas. January 8th, everybody knows what happened on January 8th. Happy birthday to Elvis Presley. He would have been here a long time, and we would have loved hearing him sing still.
Sure.
And then on January 9th, 1951, she's just 6 months older than me, Crystal Bell. She was born in Kentucky, and so happy birthday to all these people, past and present.
Yeah, indeed, happy birthday. You know, Crystal Gale, Loretta Lynn's little sister.
That's right. I wish I could say I have a great big sister, but she's not famous country star, that's for sure. She's just a famous person in her own right.
What's going on at Grand Ole Opry?
We got a great lineup this weekend. Emmylou Harris, she's going to be there both nights on Friday night and Saturday night. Colin Ray is going to be there Friday night. Stephanie Quayle, not kin to the former vice president, by the way. Brad Upton, the comedian, and Mark Wills will be there on Friday night. And Saturday night, Lindsay L. is going to join Emmylou Harris again with Kaylee Shore, Brad Upton, and Mark Wills. It's a great weekend to be at the Opry.
Let me tell you what's going on in Texas now. This has been going on for the third week. The Texas charts are still frozen. I don't really know why. I can understand the last 2 weeks, but this week it doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, I thought I'd look at what songs were in the top 5 for all of 2020, based on all the spins that they got. Casey Donahue, and he's had 21 number one hits in his career. He's one of those artists that he knows how to push himself into uncharted territory with each new release. He's had 21 number one songs in the last 18 years, and Casey Donahue is number 5 with Drove Me to the Whiskey. Randall King was number 4 for 2020 with She Gone. Number 3 was Cody Jinks with Ain't a Train. Number 2, Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen. They collaborated for Rodeo Clown. And the number 1 song for all of 2020 was Parker McCollum, and he had Pretty Heart. And I wanted to check on some of our friends, as we always do. Aaron Watson has had 2 songs in the top 40 for 2020. He had number 15, Whisper My Name, and number 39, Country Radio. Now, John Stork topped him because he had 3 songs in the top 100 for 2020. Number 24, Radio Cowboy. Number 36 was Facts and Lies. And then John Stork had number 71, Another Town. Now, our good friend Kylie French Fry, she hit number 50 for 2020 with One Night in Tulsa. And Holly Tucker made it to number 90 with Rhythm of You. And that's for all of 2020. But in the last the last couple of weeks, like I said, the charts have been frozen. So we look at Casey Donahue, number 5 still with Bad Guy. John Stork, he worked 3 jobs while he was attending school in College Station. In 2017, he landed in the top 10 on iTunes. Today, and for the last several weeks, he's been at number 4 with Another Town. And let's see, number 3 was Curtis Grimes with Still a Little Country Left. And then number 2, In a Business Where Bands Come and Go. Randy Rogers bands have been together for 17 years.
Wow.
It's very unusual. And today they're at number 2 with Drinking Money. And then John Wolfe, he brings world-class country music from the American heartland. And all his songs are inspired by artists like George Jones and George Strait and Garth Brooks. Yet he brings his own style to those. Brings his own style to each one of those songs. This week he's at number 1 again with Heart to Steal Tonight. And we've got a long list of all the dance halls because live music is getting more and more difficult to find. And I know you're going to talk about that in just a few minutes, but let me tell you what's going on in Texas right now. Once again, the Copeland Dance Hall is still closed. They're not going to open until February. Now there's a new club in Spring. It took over for one that I guess went out of business because of the pandemic, but Rowdy's Dance Hall in Spring is going to have some pretty good artists coming up. On January 15th, Casey Donahue. January 29th, Wade Bowen. And February 5th, Aaron Watson are going to be in Spring, Texas. At the Do-Si-Do in the Woodlands, January 9th, it's Josh Fuller. The 14th, Curtis Grimes. The 21st, it's going to be Jason Allen, who, by the way, is going to be showcased on the 5-Minute Music Series this Saturday night at 7 o'clock on Facebook, so tune in for that. And then on the 28th, it's Jason Boland. Now, Main Street Crossing probably has the most shows of any club out there right now. They seem to be packing them in. On the 9th, Derek Spence. Now, he does a George Strait tribute show, and I've seen it. It doesn't cost as much as seeing the real George Strait, but it's almost as good. On the 14th, Sundance Head. Sunday the 17th, Sonny Sweeney's going to be at Main Street Crossing. The 18th, Mark Jones. 26th, Bree Bagwell. And then on Friday and Saturday, the 29th and 30th, back for another show is the Bellamy Brothers at Main Street Crossing. And at the Arena Theater in Houston on February 19th, it's Restless Heart in Shenandoah. And on the 20th, Gene Watson, the Bellamy Brothers, and Mo Bandy. That'll be a really good show to see. Up in College Station on Saturday, May 1st, it's going to be Reckless Kelly. At the Armadillo Palace in Houston on Saturday, January 16th, it's going to be John Wolfe. And at Buck's Backyard in Buda, our good friend Wynn Williams is going to be there on the 30th. And the most important part is, I guess, over the holiday, he got married.
Ooh,
he posted pictures on Facebook of him and his new bride. So congratulations to Wynn Williams and his new wife.
Very handsome couple.
Yeah, very, very, very good looking couple. That's for sure. That's for sure. Debbie, what else is going on in country music?
Well, 2021 is bringing us some new music, and it's good to see that people are getting out for concerts as well. But on January the 4th, today, Steve Earle and the Dukes' new tribute album called JT is being released today, and it is in tribute to his son, Justin Town Earls, right. Earl, who died suddenly last August. And the interesting thing about it is most of the songs on this new album were recorded by Justin during his career. Today would have been his 39th birthday. All the proceeds and the royalties are going to go to a foundation to support Justin's 3-year-old daughter, Etta St. James Earl. So I think this would be a great album for people to pick up and enjoy. Steve Earle doing a tribute to his son. Definitely. I also want to mention that our friend Morgan Wallen is dropping a new album on the 8th. It's called Dangerous, but Aaron Watson is digitally dropping his new album on the 8th also. It's called American Soul, but you said he's going to be in concert on the 5th. that's when the album physically drops. So I hope he'll be performing some of his new music at that concert for
I'm sure he
sure.
will, and I'll be able to pick up a copy.
Absolutely. And then on January 15, Devin Dawson's new album, Pink Slip. And on January 22nd, Willie Jones is debuting his first album Right Now. All of these are going to be some good songs to listen to in January. But I want to also mention, we talked last week about Nashville Strong and coming back. Did you hear how wonderful Brad Paisley was during all of this?
I did not.
Well, Buck McCoy, who plays in Brad's band at the Legends Corner there on Broadway Street in Nashville, he was in the blast zone and lost everything, even his cat, who they did find, and she was back with him. But Brad decided that he needed to help Buck, and rightly so, because he's in his band. He wanted him to get back on his feet, so he gave him a new guitar, bought him a new guitar. He shared a link to the GoFundMe page that was helping Buck try to get back on his feet. But Kimberly Williams Paisley, has started a free grocery store called The Store. And so Brad and Kimberly are giving him Buck unlimited groceries until he can get back on his feet.
That's nice.
I tell you what, you cannot. That is unbelievable. All the work that people are doing to help others.
And it's really nice how major stars, are helping out with everything that went on in Nashville. It's still terrible that it happened, but Nashville's strong and they're going to come back, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you, Brad and Kimberly Paisley. We appreciate your helping, and everyone else who's helping Nashville to come back strong.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for this episode of Nash Trash. I guess we'll see you next Wednesday, unless you're going to be out of town or anything.
I'm not. I'm going to be home and just waiting on you.
I'll be here too.